Hello everybody, I'm doing here for the Hammer Game channel. Welcome back to the New Order, the Last Days of Europe, and to my Aryan Brotherhood playthrough. So yeah, I'm still full of cold at the time of this recording, because I am just recording the first 3 episodes in batch. We've got a willing labour force last episode. Rather than going for work for your life, which I have a funny feeling would have resulted in an unwilling workforce, we decided that we'd make them work for their bread. So they get paid extra money, they get a meal at work, and they also get an extra bit of bread for their dinner at night time. So they are actually willing to work for that. They are willing to work. And now we're doing Labour for Your Nation, which gives a mother and her daughter event. Okay. I'm home, Sophia said, entering her home, carrying in her bag, bread, and a little money. It was a small room, sharing it with her daughter, only made it more minute. Still, she laboured and worked without complaint, if it meant that her dear Nastya would live another day without hunger. The place was dark, with a lone candle sitting on a bedside stand, illuminating the air. The tiny bed is covered in a mountain of dirty laundry, and the lowest layer being their cleanest garments. A head poked out of the mess. "Mother!" A weak and trembling voice called out. "Are you there?" Sophia rushed to her side, saying, Natsya, my dear, do not exert yourself." Sophia laid her hands on Natya's forehead. "Thank the Lord that your temperature has gone down. Have you eaten the meals I prepared for you?" A nod. "Did you drink the medicine? Some bitter herbs, better than nothing." But another nod. "Oh, good," Sophia said, heaving a big sigh. "I brought you some bread for you to eat." Saw Natya's smile, happiest moment in her life, and saw it fade and crumble as she asked, "Have you eaten? Have you eaten?" Her stomach seemed to grumble in response, but she nodded her head. "Yes." Thus began Natya's dinner. Her mother broke off pieces of bread for her, and as she ate, Sophia took its crumbs and swiped it off the bed. When it was over, they talked. Natya, now stronger with some fuel in her belly, led a conversation. "How's your work, Mother?" she said. "Did the men in grey treat you well?" Sophia's mind flashed at the time when they struck her fellow worker, an aged man who was there for just bread. "Yes, they have, and it's no cause for you to worry." Natya puffed her lips. "Good, otherwise I would beat them black and blue." Sophia laughed, something she hadn't done in a long time, and tousled her daughter's hair. She embraced Natya, and both of them drifted to sleep in peace together. And that somehow gives us infantry equipment. Okay. Okay, our industrial army. While it is noble to fight with meagre technology, as the Germanic tribes did in ages long past, a race must eventually adopt mechanized warfare in order to survive. This does not mean abandoning one's honourable traditions. After all, the Germans conquered most of Europe and did so webbed firmly to their Aryan heritage. Luckily, we appear to be following in our footsteps. Our industrial recovery, aided by the labour of lower castes we press into service, is progressing admirably. Of course, most of the production is military, as we need to prove ourselves in the racial combat if we wish to survive. Munitions are obviously vital for the frontline battle, but a sustainable offensive cannot be mounted without fuel. Task now is to decide which areas we want to focus our resources on. Okay. So, I guess things are... Oh, we've got 2 loot now, so... I'm going to improve the industrial capabilities. Industrial equipment. Bashkiria. Oh! You want tribute now? Demand tribute. You demand tribute from us. We are your superiors. Oh, there goes the triumvirate. It's gone. The faction has imploded. I just want to have full organisation before we start this. Yeah, we will not back down so easily. We're winning. That's what we want. We're still winning. Italy is going after Yugoslavia. Tito, I'm afraid it's not going to work out for you. It never does. Okay, reopen the munitions plants or reopen the refineries. I feel like I'm just going to go for the munitions plants. I'm not even going to bother with this, because we need munitions more than oil right now. Any empires built on blood and iron, we have the blood, the racial purity of our ruling caste is impeccable. But for a long time, we have not had the iron. Perm had munition plants once, churning out bullets and bombs to the Bolshevik vermin to tear down our morals and traditions. Although the Reich's defeat of the Soviets in the 40s and their despicable residue 10 years later opened the door for the creation of our state. It also destroyed much of Russia's industrial capacity. As a result, the armies of the Aryan Brotherhood have suffered from shortages of necessary equipment. Now that their industry has been developed to a satisfactory level, we can fix this pressing issue. Though it will still be a pathetic imitation of the Wehrmacht that conquered Europe, our military will have more than enough equipment to squash our enemies whenever we see them. And that is exactly what we wanted. Brother Vagner, said a senior brother, dressed in all-black uniform, welcome to the training fields. In front of them stood several platoons of men, each dressed in the same outfit, standing at attention. As you can see, we have prepared for your arrival. Examine the men before you go to your heart's desire. Before you to your heart's desire, they were the perfect Aryan specimens, standing proud in the dark, cold earth points of Aryan light amid Russian darkness. Their arms bore the armband that all brothers of the Brotherhood wore, a piece of red fabric with a white circle in the middle of which was a swastika. Thank you, Brother Dietrich, Wagner said. It's an honour to examine these fine examples of Aryan blood within us. Dashing they were, and tall, with a ruddy reddish hue on their cheeks. Not one of them averted their eyes when they met Wagner's. Instead, in each were a fire, burning with enthusiasm, its crackle audible to his ears. I see you have trained them well. Tell me, Dietrich. The old brother turned his head to face Wagner. Did your men eat well last night? Of course, sir. The slaves assigned to this regiment were of the highest quality. Dietrich snorted. Might I even say they make for excellent cooks. Thank you for that, sir. As well as, he pointed to the rifles and machine guns of the men, your munitions and equipment. No need to thank me, brother. A workman must have the best tools to do his task, must he not? You and your regiment have proven yourselves worthy of the labour of the slaves. Labour the slaves have put into your tools. Thank you, sir. And should we proceed? Lead the way, brother. Okay. Well, there's the war in the desert. Industrial investments. Yeah, let's do that. Gives us a factory, and we do need a factory. Preferably civilian. Is this still ongoing? I'm sorry, Turkey won? The enemy's defeat. What the hell? Turkey won already? Looks like they took a decent... Did they take a decent bit of land there? I think they took, what, 3? Maybe two bits of land off them. Not exactly a lot. Rally the Israelis. You've already lost. How the hell did you lose? Oh well. Yeah, we're entirely Aryan right now. And we will remain entirely Aryan as well. Aryan legions. There is one unifying quality of the Aryan race. It's warlike nature. We are fighters, conquerors, storming across the land and sacking the soft cities of decadent cultures. For the past several years, resource shortages and the destruction of past wars have prevented us from realizing this racial ideal. Our soldiers have often experienced shortages of ammunition and equipment. At our lowest, we have had guards on patrol with empty rifles. What? Now that ammunition factories are pumping out shells and bullets at a steady rate, we will have shortages no longer. Every single Aryan soldier will have a rifle and the ability to do his racial duty without rationing ammunition. This is a vital first step towards our goal of a modern army, as well as towards our broader objective of an Aryan state ruling all of Western Russia. Perfect. Checking the brands. Brothers Dietrich and Willem sat side by side, examining the brands laid before them. Today, Wagner and the Council of Brotherhood had given them a special assignment, the branding of slaves. In the hot fire pits in front of them were two brands. Both were red iron hot, burning as if driven by a strange desire to subsume, to make another submit to one's will. The new batch of slaves was coming. Rumours from the lower ranks, as well as the lowly servants that made the bulk of the labour force in the barracks, had stipulated that these bunch were especially pitiful. Short, thin, with a willowy complexion laid over them like a thin shroud of pale grey fabric. Dietrich, an Aryan brother since the first days of the Brotherhood, pointed to one of the brands, whose end was shaped like a swastika. Most of today's crew would probably use this one, he said, opening his palms against the hooked cross to feel the warmth emanate and the cruelty flow. It means they would make bad slaves. Better to put them out of their misery now. Less people to manage. Brother Wagner would understand. And that one? Said Willem, nothing noting the other brand, a cross, an X mark. Are those for the good slaves? Of course, Willem. Dietrich stood up and tapped Willem's shoulder. Do watch out for the ones you think would make a good brother. We could use more of those. How do you tell? Just pick whatever you like. 15 swastikas, 8 cross, and 2 ascendant. Okay, so basically they just killed a lot of them off. Great. And I'm going to need a new, fresh hanky. I do apologise for these first 2 episodes. I'm hoping I'm going to be a little bit better. Well, the third one's going to be bad as well. I hope I'm going to be better after my week of work. It couldn't be any worse place to be than work, like, during this, but oh well. So, does Gorky have a tree? No, but they have armor expertise, and obviously the factory. Alright, the United States doing their first war. Got an ongoing border conflict over there. Oh, excuse me. One thing I'm going to do is actually place our guys in there so they can easily head to any of the fronts. Oh, excuse me. City of Slaughter. Perm has been rejuvenated. The air of decay and degradation that once filled the streets has been filled with one of toil and martial vigor. The shiftless subhuman majority has been put to work, re-establishing the industry, and the weapons of war flow out of our factories in impressive amount in numbers. Perm is now an engine of death, the nexus of the coming racial struggle against the scum, degenerates, and race traitors that occupy the vast majority of Russia. Besides the bare necessities required to keep our labourers running, it produces only what is needed for combat. Our blood is pure, our iron is mighty, and our hearts are full of righteous hatred. We have created the perfect staging ground for expansion across the region. All that is left is to begin. Okay. The inspector gauged the munition plant, examined the vines that gnawed on its bricks and facade, and the noise of slaves toiling inside. This building had a history spanning into Soviet era. He grimaced at the thought. What dark times before the enlightening version of the Brotherhood brought him forward as the best specimen of humankind. Recovering from his disgust, he smirked. The Soviets, their arch enemies, had provided the Brotherhood with the means to build a new order, a world where the lesser would learn their places in the hierarchy. An explosion rang from within, a muffled cacophony of 1,000 cracklings, steadily getting louder and louder, before fading away to silence. A brother stepped out, hands over ears. He approached the distressed Aryan. Questions bubble in his mind. Perhaps this man can answer him, the most central of them all, to punish or let go. Inspector, the man said, I am sorry for causing you concern, but I am fine. No problem, the inspector said. What's your name, brother? Willem, sir. What happened back there, Willem? An accident? You could say that. Someone set off an old munitions cache. 6 people are dead. Any of them Aryan? Willem shook his head. Good. Continue as you would, brother. He saluted the brother, who returned a gesture. He would let these lot go. After all, slaves come and go in such numbers these days. His mind turned to the report he was to write later in the day. Minor incident, 6 slaves dead. Not a big deal. Well, at least we're getting more infantry equipment. 2.2k. Still don't have enough army experience to actually go ahead and change those up, but we will be doing it soon. 4 days until we get a factory. And Burgundy's obviously doing what they always do. And then I think what we'll do is we'll finish off this part of the tree next. Non-Aryan military. I went for fully Aryan. That's fine. So not Aryan military. Yeah, an army of the pure. Oof. Oh, we got another military factory. Good. Sadly, of course, we can't just jump straight back into getting another factory. We'll wait until we can do that again. Go ahead and scavenge for loot as well. Industrial expertise is on the up though. That's good. Right, city slaughter's done. Let's proof by deed. Aryanism is strength, and thus only the strong are capable of being true Aryans. This is the maxim we must live by if our nation is to avoid sinking into degeneracy. Separating the master race from the subhumans is therefore of paramount importance, and to achieve this end, we have developed an elaborate test of resolve. Anyone who can demonstrate their ability to kill or capture at least 5 people will have amply shown that they are fit to walk among us. Already we have discovered several dozen of the worthy using this method, some of whom were busy proving their Aryanness well before we even rose to power. Henceforth, all prisoners we captured deemed potentially suitable will be administered this test. If they pass, they will be permitted to join our ranks. If not, we'll treat them as we do the rest of the subhumans. Okay. Gutrum Vagner, the Führer of the Aryan Brotherhood and greatest despot of West Russia, was proud of many things. He was proud of his blood, the mighty Aryan stock that impelled him towards great and terrible deeds. He was proud of his martial spirit, his leadership, his deep knowledge of the principles of politics and war, and his tireless will to reshape the world. He had a haughty admiration, unburdened by doubt or reason, for himself as the pinnacle of racial development. Looking out on the city of Perm from the Brotherhood's folk shale, he felt prouder than ever before, not only for his own myriad virtues, but for everything his people had accomplished. It had a stark, brutal beauty to it. The buildings were concrete blocks, decadent historic structures cleared away by war and demolition to make way for the needs of the race. The streets, once teeming with Bolshevist filth, were now filled only with the quiet, orderly slave crews watched carefully over by Aryan overseers. New factories appeared seemingly every day, filling the skies with smog and pumping out nothing else but the finest weapons of war for his legions. Are they, though? We haven't made any more, except from that one we just got. Vagner had taken the disorderly mess that was Perm and beaten vigorously into shape. Now its hundreds of thousands of inhabitants, Aryan or slave, were seemingly of a single mind, united by force towards a single purpose: the utter annihilation of anyone who would stand in the way of the Aryan Brotherhood. Nice wee bonus there, and I apologise for any background noise you can hear right now, because they're being annoying. We apparently have a nice... we don't have any debt. That's nice. Argentine People's Republic. Okay. Italian interference. Okay. Okay. Germany has access to Isfahan and Fair's oil resources. They'll lose that pretty soon. It shouldn't be too much longer until you know who bites the dust. yeah, we're getting closer. Probably maybe about 200 days, maybe less than a year. Let's get civilian construction too. What's our research speed at? It feels like we've not really done much research. Minus 43. Yep, that sounds about right. Alright. The Übermensch march to war. The formation of our elite fighting units is proceeding smoothly. We have extensively studied the methods and tactics of our brother, Aryans, in Germany, and used them as a basis for the formation of the greatest military force Russia will ever see. For every one of our soldiers that falls in a blaze of glory, he will take 100 subhumans with him. Our commanders will read works written by the likes of Gudrun and Halder in original German. Heinz! Following their inflammable examples of tactical prowess. Our squads too are organised along German lines. The machine gun will be its centre, and therefore only the most Aryan will be selected to wield it. Stimulants manufactured by only the finest chemists in our territory will be issued to push our troops beyond their natural limits, for even the master race is subject to those. Soon our army will be able to rival even the SS. Wow, we have big dreams there. Ivan stood clutching his stomach in front of the rotting wooden building in which he and the rest of his unit were being imprisoned. Just 3 days ago they had numbered over 100. Now we're only 24. They've been captured in a raid launched by these so-called Aryans against Berezniki and had only surrendered once the ammunition had run out. Evidently this had made an impression on the opposing commander, as instead of shooting them on the spot he was trying to escort them back to the Brotherhood's territory. Now that very same commander stood before his assembled prisoners again and began speaking. It is lunchtime, as you may know, and within our barracks. He gestured towards a considerably more well-kept structure behind them. We are serving hot food and water. Ivan perked up upon hearing this. He and his unit hadn't had so much of a breadcrumb to eat ever since he had been captured, and his only hydration had come from a leak in their roof during the rains of the previous night. Indeed, one was even able to see that the faint outlines of the rib cages of several of his comrades. But good food, the officer continued, is something that only the worthy are deserving of. In the fighting 3 days ago, you all showed that you had the potential of this worthiness, the potential of being Aryan. Potentially alone, however, is not enough. Potential alone is, however, is not enough. At this he drew and presented his pistol, a shoddily made copy of a German model. My proposition is simple. Any of you who can use this implement to kill 5 of your fellows will have proven themselves Aryan enough to join us at the table immediately. Do not, he looked to the soldiers who stood at either side of him, try anything funny. Ivan considered the officer's word for a long while. After all, had not food and water been the reason he joined the military of the Berezniki in the first place? Then his mind wandered to his comrades, the friendships he had developed, how they had fought side by side to the last round. No, he thought, shaking his head, he wouldn't do it. At first it seemed as if his friends were in a similar mind, but after a moment had passed, one stepped forward and took the pistol. He was not strong enough. Okay, so I'm guessing he died then. Okay, so, oh, army experience, good. So an army of the pure is next. The Aryan military that will prove to be the salvation of Russia grows stronger by the day. In particular, the large number of training accidents that have recently occurred have proven to be a great boon, further weaning our forces of the weak. More reforms are still necessary, however, if we wish for our troops to achieve their full potential. Our commanders have yet to be trained in the large unit tactics, an issue that can be quickly rectified by further study of the Wehrmacht's geniuses. There is also the question of strategy, but this is less important. All the master race needs to do is win battles, and it will be able to live off the land just fine, and so little attention will be paid to the unnecessary inconveniences like logistics companies. Okay. Right, that's going to go in October of the following year, that's fine. Komi and Vyatka are having a nice little fight, a wee border conflict. Right, the Brotherhood. With this direction that we have chosen for our armed forces finally seen through, we can now look towards employing this army both within our territory and abroad. Not only can we secure the hinterland from the roving bandits who seek to subvert our Brotherhood and destroy it from within, but also prepare for expansion. Time to test the waters and probe our enemies' borders, the raids of their fringe settlements. We have to secure captives and loot, as well as assess our new combat methods and improve them even further with practical experience. In the upcoming struggle against the Slav, it is imperative that we ensure that no matter what, our Aryan spirit remains the dominant guiding factor in our strategies. However, it's no secret that these strategies can and will be continuously improved for the glory of the Brotherhood. 10 more support from that. Klaus. He had forgotten the name he had been born with, looked upon the rigidly assembled company with pride, and considered how closely they resembled the pictures he had seen of the German here, assembled for their wonderful Führer, down to the very helmets they wore. In the background, a Prussian-style band played a variety of German tunes, such as Erika and Panzerlied. Set a tone, I think Panzerlied, that's how he said it. Slowly, Klaus's mind began wandering to the realms of imagination. In his head, he imagined these proud soldiers conquering Russia and subjugating the subhumans once and for all. He thought to the Smoska flying over Arkhangelsk and putting an end to Bolshevik Jewry that had plagued Russia for the past half-century. But no, these were not mere fantasies. The men standing before him now would bravely charge into a machine gun nest if ordered and take it with ease. They were the master race, every last one of them. And despite their admittedly small numbers, soon the entirety of Russia would be within their grasp. A tap on the shoulder shook him from his fantasies. Energetically nodding, Klaus stood up and approached the podium to begin his speech. Fellow Aryans, party comrades, at the end of this day, there's no need for me to emulate all the evidence that have overwhelmed us with this spellbinding unique greatness. Oh, we got 2 more units. Nice. I'll take 2 more units. That is perfect. And Bulgaria sided with Germany. Oh, we don't need elite infantry just yet. There we go. And I can finally say 36 and 22. Wow, the light infantry heart attack is absolutely shambolic. But let's go ahead and change them all over. And we can say goodbye to that crap, because we don't like that. Horizontal, vertical, horizontal, horizontal. What we can actually do is we'll be 800. That's fine. At least we know they're going to be of decent strength. Right, that's that done. Instilling fear. Ever since the end of the West Russian War, the Germans have begun their terror bombing campaign to teach the lesser peoples to know their place in the hierarchy of this world. Every day when the planes pass, we look toward the sky and see not terror, but admiration. The Aryans that live beyond Russia have fulfilled their fate, and through merit alone reached the apex position among the blood. These bombs and terror are their tool to secure their dominance in Russia. Following the example set by our German kin and superiors, we shall be the terror of the land and night, while they reign in the sky and day. No longer shall our inferiors find the darkness of a refuge, as the brothers will ransack the countryside and aid the Aryans in their quest. They shall learn the only lesson Untermensch ought to learn: to fear, to be afraid of their superiors. So we lose manpower and stability, okay. Disciplined raiders. I feel like autonomous raiders is actually better. And towards new pastures. We don't actually have any reading down this route. No reading whatsoever. Yeah, of course we've got cleansing Russia, which should probably change a tree for us and open up the warpaths. Our factory, thank you. And we're also at manpower. Which I'm just thinking. We actually do have a decent amount of artillery. Would we have enough to actually... We'd be 204 short. Reform our raiders. Though our men are excellent in causing terror, proving to the lesser peoples that even the quiet and dead of the night that they are not safe, the Brotherhood and its ideals demand still more. The brothers, mighty as they may be, are disorganized and confused with unclear command structure and rules of seniority. Look to our silent benefactors, the Germans. With a centralized doctrine and the power of their blood, they were able to put the entirety of Russia to its knees. Following their example, we shall amend the structure of the Brotherhood's military arm. No longer shall a brother and another bicker among themselves as to who does what. or senior brothers, effectively the officer corps of the Brotherhood, shall be granted formal authority to command. With these reforms in place, you will aspire one day to achieve the heights of the Germans. Okay, but anyways, those heights will have to wait, as we're going to end that episode there. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I shall be back very soon for some more. Until then, take care. Cheer bye. The now.